What is up, everyone? It is another episode of the JumpStart BFR experience. We got a special episode today because we have two of the brothers on, finally. The goal of today's show is for me to not get kicked off. My name is Hassan. I'm in charge of sales and marketing for JumpStart, and we also have...
Omair Ilyas. I am the Chief Medical Officer, more into safety and application of BFR.
Yeah, so today's a special episode because we're going to be talking about fasting and also awareness of our body, especially when it comes to training, how our body feels, and not just training, but overall health. So we have a special month coming up in 2 months. What would you say?
Something like that.
Like six weeks or so. I kind of want to share before we get into maybe some biohacks and stuff, kind of letting the audience know what fasting is. Ramadan, 30 days of fasting. You want to kind of tell them what Ramadan is about, or what it's like, what we do?
Yeah, so basically, sun up to sundown, we're not eating or drinking. This is a dry fast. We do that for 30 months. That's just basic.
30 days.
Oh, did I say
it's
months?
Like 30 months. Whoa.
Sorry, 30 days. I'm a little tired. My bad.
Yeah. And on top of that, so I've been training now for 15 years competitively, and especially when I speak to my coaches, they always say, "Oh, why don't you just work out after you're done eating?" And I was like, "Well, the thing is though we have that 16-hour fast, we eat, we pray, and then we have another prayer. So I don't have time to work out until like 10, not even 10. At one point, it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then you're like, shoot, do I work out or do I go to sleep?
Yeah, because
right?
You are tired, and then also they're like, "Oh, eat a bunch," and well, after you fast for that long, your stomach's shrunken down. There's nothing in there. So if you just slam it with a bunch of food, it's a horrible feeling. You don't feel very good. I don't anyways.
I don't know if you remember, but this was when I first came back from Missouri, 2016, 2017. This was the summer I gained 20 pounds. That was like when I was trying out the new diet, but that we also went into fasting that year as well.
20 pounds of bad weight, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. But,
Okay.
Curtis Brodnick, if you're out there, hey, it was fun to experiment. It was me. It wasn't you. It was me. But, I remember because that was a hardest Ramadan because I was eating a pizza a day. And then when I came, I was like, dude, I was going crazy. And then I was like, dude, how am I going to work out? So that was a very, very difficult Ramadan for me because I don't know if I was trying to maintain or if I was still trying to make gains. And I feel like I was still trying to make gains.
Yeah. So that's like the interesting thing. Again, back, I remember even before you went out to Missouri to train and whatnot, we were going to the gyms super late at night.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because just we weren't that smart at the time. And again, we were still trying to put on mass, and it's just very taxing on the body. You might be able to get all those calories in, but the timings of it and just the fatigue that sets in, it's rough for the body.
Yeah.
And as the years went on, I feel like I'm a little bit smarter. I hope I am. That I just train completely differently. Like my mindset is all about longevity, but when it comes to Ramadan, especially when we start fasting, I do more maintenance stuff, and I go in knowing that, hey, I am going to lose some of the gains I made, but that's fine because overall my body is recovering, and I don't want to tax it too much, especially during that time. I'm trying to focus on different things, for that month. So
have you heard? Because I know this happens, and I'm familiar of. I've heard stories of this happening where, especially for athletes, not just like the everyday individual. Actually, no. I've heard it in NBL, so the Muslim Basketball League, and I've heard it from professional athletes that they choose not to fast because if they fast, then they can't work out.
I mean, I've heard that before. I don't agree with it. If that's what I would, advise against it. But if that's what they're doing, like I don't want that. For someone like me and you, I would choose if this is not my job or something. I'm
right, and like we're not hating on them, but I'm saying like, what if there was a way that they could do it or manage it properly, where they can get through the month and also.
Yeah. So before or even now, what I do is it's light workouts. It's nothing too crazy. It's just to get the body to stay in that maintenance mode. Yes, you are going to lose a little bit, but that's okay. It's just once that month is over, kind of putting your body in a position where you can hit the ground running. And
so what changed for you? Because I remember, when we used to work out, I remember we would try to do some push-ups or something, and dude, I couldn't even it just hurt really bad. I don't know, and I didn't know what that feeling was. I was like, oh, maybe I'm just tired. But like now, from what you know now to, hey, you know what was actually happening is like, you know, what was actually happening, like I think we were trying to, I feel like we were just trying to stay jacked. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, we were just trying to put on a lot of muscle. It was funny because, yeah, it's just constant fatigue and just feeling like absolute crap.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And a month is a month for renewal.
Exactly.
Right?
And you know, and you're just feeling terrible because you're just taxing your body nonstop every day with, you know, lack of food and then just like trying to hit it hard at the gym. And you know what? Like to me, like in my opinion, it doesn't matter. You say you look shredded, you look great. If I feel terrible, what's the point? Right. I want to feel good. I want to look good. I want to feel good.
Right.
So.
And Ramadan's also that month. It's kind of like that reset month. And, you know, sometimes when you go in trying to like, oh, I'm going to go in and, okay, now like you almost take the focus out of the month because you're like, well, now I'm focused more about my calories or how to get, like, dude, that's not what the month is for.
Yeah. And, you know, it's supposed to be a struggle. There's no reason to like overdo it. Right.
So what are some ways that we can do it better?
Yeah. So me personally, like it's dropping the loads on the exercises if that's what you want to do, or if you want to do the same loads, it's like reducing the amount of reps and sets and stuff like that. It's just to keep the body moving without overtaxing it. That's the way I look at it, and that's kind of like my goal. The interesting thing is there's a bit of, I guess, a biohack if you want to use that word, and that's with the BFR training.
Right. Now, when you say biohack, like what do you mean by, for instance, what do you mean by a biohack?
So, you know, you can go through a workout and people who are into hypertrophy or looking into like bodybuilding and stuff like that, there's a thing that they're trying to achieve. And with workouts, you feel like that pump. And usually you're getting that towards the end of your workouts. And but with BFR training, you can actually achieve that much sooner. You get the cellular swelling and like the response to like mechanical load a lot sooner with lighter loads. So again, you're not overworking the body, but still getting the proper like metabolic changes and changes within those muscles. Okay,
so I'm gonna give you an example, and you say, hey, yes or no. Hassan, yes, you could do that. Nah, I don't think so.
Now, before we do that, remember, let's just define what our goals are, right? If your goal is, hey, I want to make gains, that's totally fine. Yeah. I have nothing against that. But just know what your goals are before you go into it. If your goals are, hey, I want maintenance, that's good too. Goals of weight loss, you just need to know what yours are and then apply a protocol that meets those goals. You know.
Gotcha. So I'll give you a few different examples, and you say, hey, well, you know what? If I was them, so I'll give you like, this is this person's goal.
Yes.
Okay. So this person is, and by the way, though we're talking about biohacking, if you guys want to like win through Ramadan, fasting for those 30 days, it's not just about like, I mean, you got to change the way you eat. You got to be more cognizant of the amount of time you're sleeping, right?
Proper rest, proper nutrition.
Yeah, and I really feel like the nutrition part is like thrown out the window all the time because I just fasted for 16 hours. I gotta
eat whatever.
I gotta eat like, come on.
It's, you know, my thing is, you know, if you're trying to make those changes, it's just make small changes, you know, and small like and just be consistent. So
right. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's say we have a everyday gym goer, right? And now they're entering Ramadan. This is their issue. Okay, so they're entering, and currently they can't go to their gym. And we have an extra prayer at night, and they're short on time, and they had a great January, February, March. Now it's April, and they want to at least either pick up where they left off or not like have to start from ground zero again at the end of Ramadan. What would you recommend to them? Or what are some things they could do, whether it's with BFR or with, you know, raising their awareness in Ramadan so they know that they can maybe...
Yeah. So obviously, you know, that's how you're going to kind of divvy up that time. And if you're pressed on time, definitely BFR can help, you know, and it can decrease the amount of atrophy. The good thing is we're going to be putting together training protocol with BFR, which you can apply. Yeah. So for someone like that, yes, I think working out's fine. Definitely don't do it to a point where you're like overtaxing yourself. and making sure you can still get throughout the day without being overly fatigued. Now, yes, you're going to get tired from, not eating and whatnot, but being, I guess, more cognizant about like changes in your body and being aware of like, how do you feel and knowing like, is this feeling from, oh, I didn't eat enough this morning, or, hey, like I went way too hard last night.
Right. So like, would you say, tell someone like, oh, I'm tired, I still got to push through it. When it comes for the month of Ramadan, when you're fasting, would you say, hey, dude, if you're really not feeling it, it's better for you to sleep instead of go and train?
Yeah, people forget that recovery like happens.
Yeah,
you can eat, but you need to sleep. That's where a lot of recovery is. If you're low on sleep, why would I go? For me personally, I'm not going to go and like tax myself and then come back and.
You're more prone to injury at that point, right?
You are, and especially like there's some people that's fine. Like if you just like working out, being in the gym, that's okay. But people who are like into movement and like you have athletes, I would highly recommend against that because, as you know, coming back from injury is very hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of injury like takes people out. And just doing the rehab for it, it's not easy.
Yeah, and people in Ramadan, like it takes you out. Like my biggest but like my biggest struggle with Ramadan was like I felt like I had to start from scratch again at the end of the month. And then like it was like a 6 weeks to like start that cycle again. Now,
there is going to be that time where it's getting back into it, right?
Right.
Because you remember like the next day, it's like, oh, I'm going to start eating a bunch. And you're like, no, I don't even want to eat that much.
Yeah.
So,
or you do and you take that Eid nap. You take that 3.
Yeah. Everyone takes that. I don't know if it matters how much you eat, but your body's going to go through changes, and just being okay with accepting that, it's going to take a little bit of time. But if we could reduce that amount of time and get you in there feeling better faster, I mean, I would go with that option.
Yeah. So when it comes to someone who, let's say they work out a little bit, nothing crazy, like they know that they watch what they eat already.
Yeah.
Ramadan's coming and they want to take advantage of the month, obviously spiritually, but they also want to tone.
Yeah.
Could they, what could they do? Could they use BFR as well and add that to their training regimen?
Definitely. And if they're kind of already aware of like what they're putting in their body, what they're eating, I don't see any issue with that. And there's training protocol out there for that too. So
basically managing your fatigue, making sure, knowing what you take in, and then having a proper physical activity plan or exercise, and
then making sure like your training protocol that you're using aligns with your goals of, hey, I'm trying to tone up or whatever.
Last year my workouts, obviously it was different because we were fasting at home, but my workouts were like literally 30 minutes.
I was even less than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already probably didn't have a lot of weight on, but at that time, like I already knew, hey, I'm going to lose this much weight, whatever. I was studying the whole time.
Yeah.
And at home, I had a pull-up bar and I had like a couple kettlebells.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going crazy with those or anything. It was, I was what I like to call it, like I take small bites. I'll do a little bit of a workout. And my thing is just to be able to do that. I'd rather do a little bit of workout every day instead of like go really hard, be out for 2 or 3 days,
right, and
then go hard again. I don't care for that. I'm into longevity, and my goal is to stay as fit and as healthy as long as I possibly can. Yeah. And that, for me, lines up with small bites every day.
And I know the show is about Ramadan and awareness, but like these same philosophies we're sharing right now is why we started with BFR in the first place. Like it doesn't matter if you're fasting for 30 days or you are getting ready for a trip to Europe, or you're already a professional athlete. Like wherever you're at, I really think people should start taking advantage of the benefits of BFR training. Whether you're on a time crunch, whether you're looking for a smart. Honestly, the thing I loved about it is like last year, I had a great. I don't know if maybe you knew this, but I had a great I would say from September to January. February, I went into plyometric training. The first or second day, I blew my Achilles, man. It was I don't know what I did to it, but I could get out of bed, but I couldn't walk on it. So I would limp throughout the house, and I was like, man, I gotta start again. That's it. I was like, there's whatever. And I was like, dude, I don't know how many times I've started again. Probably like 6 or 7 times, especially when you like competitive athletes, like you compound when you train. So every year. So then like when you start again, you're like, dude, again?
Mm-hmm.
But this time it was different because my physician was like, yo, try this.
Yeah.
And literally like the first workout, I was like, yo, is this no, this is, have you ever heard of this stuff? Like, you know, I remember we spoke and you're like, oh yeah, it was legit. Like,
it's funny how we found out about it differently. And then the one weekend I come back, we're like, oh, what the heck? You have that? Oh yeah. And then you were asking like, is this legit or not? I was like, no, that thing's legit for sure.
I don't know why. Like, I wish, honestly, I really, really wish I knew about it sooner.
Yeah.
Maybe like Rich had said on the other show, like, what would you have done with it if you knew about it sooner?
Yeah.
I really feel like if I knew sooner, like, I don't know, things would be different.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, I would have trained different too. I mean, I'm not a competitive athlete like you are. I do compete here and there, but it's not that everyday grind kind of like that you go through. Mine's more like, hey, I'm just doing a bunch of random stuff.
But even now, right? You think about someone not a competitive athlete or someone who works out.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, I know you've had this when like you can't train because you're hurt.
Yeah.
And how you feel mentally, how you feel, you feel down.
You want to go through feelings of depression? Yeah.
It's tough.
That's what I like. I don't want to say I blew my knee because you've actually blown your knee. I hurt my knee. And I remember it was just wobbly to stand on, and I didn't know what was going to happen with it. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, whatever. I'm going to train my upper body now. Yeah. And I remember like I was training one day and I destroyed my whole like left like shoulder girdle. I don't even know what happened to it until that was probably 2016.
Yeah.
It's just started getting better within the last 2 months because I was with this PT who like figured it out.
Yeah. And
you know, he showed me some stuff and I can honestly say that was like kind of life changing. But yeah, when you back then, like when you get injured, real injuries, they derail people.
So the reason I bring that up, right? Like I wish I would have knew about it sooner. And now like we're trying to get in this space to let people know. Why do you think, for instance, this has been around for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why does no one still know about it?
It's just, you know what?
Like honestly, like I'm not like it's shocking to me.
Yeah. It's because it's a very simple idea. I just don't, because when I was first introduced to it, we're talking about like, you know, medical grade equipment.
Yeah.
You know, it's super expensive. It's bulky. You know, you're not going to travel with it. But if you just look at the concept of what it's trying to achieve, you can do it for a lot cheaper. And it's kind of like PRP was, you know, if you know about platelet-rich plasma, it just started getting bigger now, but it's been around for a while. And everything just, you know, for some reason, some things just take time. So
yeah. Remember like Rocky at Raquel when she was on the launch.
Mm-hmm.
And she said I was a test subject.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
And I was like,
subject.
What?
Yeah.
But I think like even Richard said, like, I think our bodies they're catching up to ourselves now. Yeah. And I think that maybe now it's catching because we're starting to break down.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm older. I don't know. 28 stuff just hurts more. Funny, and now I'm looking for a different way. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you were a competitive athlete to the level that, you know, you were at, or if you played multiple sports and stuff like that, you start feeling things. I mean, we're not old.
Yeah.
But if you tell someone who's older, like, oh, things are starting to hurt, they'll tell you you have no idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, we're just a little behind. And
what do you think it's going to take to get people to make this, either not make the switch, but like get educated enough to know, like, you can compare it to, what would be a good one? I don't know. I was gonna say ice baths, but like something that took time.
You know, ice baths have been around forever. But yeah, you know what it is with the ice baths and the sauna and everything. People are coming out with the science now, and they're just, or the science was there. It's just people are just being more vocal about it. So the biggest thing about BFR is, you know, you're looking at it online and stuff like that. People just are not familiar with it. It's bringing that familiarity. Tough word. Just bringing that, and then having it around more and have a little bit like people speaking about it a little bit more, and I don't think it'll be an issue. And if we can like help with that, and you know, any education that needs to be there, you know, we can provide that. So
because honestly, I legit like, because I was thinking about the, you know, when people say, oh, you need to when someone's like, they go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you need to take this, and then like, or you can change your diet, meditate, breathe, like, do exercise. They're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Give me the pills.
Yeah. But like, for instance, back in the day, if someone told me that, I would probably, since I heard that, I would do it. But like, I'm really trying to think back. I have never, like, I was almost upset that I didn't know about it earlier.
Yeah. And it could have just been the circles that we were in. We were young athletes at the time too, so it wasn't really, targeting. They weren't really we weren't the target audience at that time, because in the U.S. it was mainly, when I saw it anyways, it was more of a rehab, like, and the cool thing, it's making its way into like mainstream fitness industry. You could use it whenever, it doesn't really matter. So
yeah. Okay, so kind of to wrap it up, I think that things are changing. Obviously things are changing, and I think we are, like you said, it's going to take some time. I think we're coming to that spot where like we're understanding that we need to start taking care of our bodies more, right? And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, like you talked about the goals, like we need to know what our goals are.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing that should be a takeaway from this, is I would want everyone to, you need to either define or redefine your goals. I had a professor in undergrad. I got my degree in kinesiology at Cal State Fullerton. And one day the teacher's just like, what are your goals? And I was like, what do you mean, what are my goals? Like, he's like, what are your like fitness goals? Like, what do you want to do? Because this dude was jacked. Yeah. And I looked at him and he's like, you could ask me any question. And some guy's like, hey, how much do you squat? Or like, how much do you deadlift? Or it might have been bench. I don't even remember what it was. And the guy goes, I don't lift weights. And I looked at him, I was like, what? How do you look? He
was jacked, right?
Yeah, and he's just like, did a lot of like calisthenics stuff, and he wasn't like, he was in very good shape, and he's just like, he's like, my goal in life is I want to be very fit, I want to be mobile. Yeah. He's like, you can train your show muscles or you can train your go muscles. I train my go muscles, and it lets me do all the activities that I want to do, and I want to do it at an old age. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do too. Yeah. And then, I was talking to him, and then he was asking me about my workouts and what I do, and he's like, look, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just, it doesn't line up with what you want to do. And it's not going to benefit you in like the long run. So like, yeah, maybe know your short-term goals, and then like, you need to be aware of what your long-term goals are. Yeah. And then once you have those defined, just be okay with change. Like and the hardest thing for me was like, but I've already been doing this routine for these many years. You want me to drop all that? And it's like, well, do you want to live to what your goals are?
And you know what happens when the people that don't have those physical exercise goals, people's end results become their goals. And then that's where the body shaming comes in. But like, for instance, they're like, oh, what? Like, honestly, if you make the goals and you're like, hey, I want this, you work with someone to reverse engineer it and say, hey, we can live like this. Hey, you really want a 6 or 8 pack? You need to cut out this. Is that really that worth it to you? Okay, how can I do it where I'm happy? Like, if you make a goal that you're happy with, and honestly, when you feel better, when you just physically feel better, everything else gets easier, man.
It does.
You're less susceptible to a lot of things.
And the other big thing is for the whole goals thing and working out, all that stuff's really good, and I really push it. And I don't want to say, hey, get our BFR cuffs, it's going to change your life. It's not. It's great. It's
a great supplement.
It's a great supplement. I think it's very beneficial, and you could apply it to anything. Yeah. But I'm not trying to sell like hopes and dreams here. It's are you willing to put in the work, and are you willing to be just very honest with yourself with what you want? Yeah. And this can help you along the way. If you don't want to get it, that's just up to you, and I'm okay with that. But just clear, defined goals of what you want, and then what's the quickest way to get there, and what's the safest way.
Exactly. I don't know if Nani had said it. That's
my grandmother.
I think she said, like, if you, or it was maybe I don't know what they're called, like those, not analogies, but those like phrases. But it was like, if you take care of your body or you take care of your stomach for the first 30 years, it'll take care of you the next 30, right? Or like, if you take care of your body the first 30 years, it'll take care of you the next 30. Yeah. I don't know what the actual like 40, 50, whatever it was. But if you like really take the time, let's say like the one thing you got out of here was like, hey, I want to really figure out how I want to feel. I want to feel, and if you work like info at JumpStart Systems, we're not even going to try to sell you. If you have a goal, whether you want to look a certain way or you want to feel a certain way, and then you reverse engineer it. So let's say someone's like, hey, I want to have a size 5. I don't know what waist sizes are.
I'm going to take it one step further.
Okay.
Is know why you have those goals. Some people,
Dang.
yes, because
Tony Robbins in the building.
no. Why do you have that goal? Someone goes, I want an 8-pack. And you go, why do you want an 8-pack? Well, I want to be able to take my shirt off. I want to show everybody. And it'll make me feel better about myself if people like me and I get those likes online. And you need to be honest with yourself and be like, if that's what I want, know if it's unhealthy or not. If those are still your goals, those are your goals. I just want you to know, like, are those healthy goals or not?
That's going to rob you in the long term.
Yeah, for sure. And I would hope that people kind of understand that at a younger age. But hey, dude, if that's your goal, you want an 8-pack to show other people, like.
Yeah. Well, just take the time out and think about why.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have the goal. Let's say you make the goal. And now we think about, why did I make this goal?
Mm-hmm.
What is this goal doing for me? And yeah, honestly, like with the goals that people are making nowadays, it's based off everything they're seeing. Mm-hmm. And they're not seeing the best stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you talk about teenage, this pod's going everywhere. Whether you talk about teenage girls, what they see online, what they think beauty is.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for men, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like men are struggling big time.
Yeah. Men, women, everyone's struggling. It's tough, and you need to know what you're kind of consuming online and where you're getting, I guess, like your thought processes and like where you're kind of defining your goals and stuff like that. So,
if there was,
I know it gets into the weeds a little bit, but I would just hope that people know why they have those certain goals.
Yeah, it's the same thing that if it was my younger self, or like if I could give some advice, but say like even at a younger age, like. Think about it a little bit more. Yeah. Take one more step until I just want to say, no, just wait. Mm-hmm. Let's think about it. Work with it like someone that you like, trust, respect, and say, hey, this is my goal. What do you think about this? Yeah. And say, hey, I think this is a goal. What do you think? Right. Yeah. Bounce it off someone else.
Be okay with like not hearing what you wanted to.
Ugh, yeah.
Dude, my teacher straight up said like,
that's a whole other podcast.
What you're doing is dumb. Yeah. And I had to be like, oh, thanks, man. This is the best thing anyone's ever told me. It sucks. You know, your ego gets in the way, and that's a rough thing. If you're able to take criticism correctly and,
Or a different perspective. Sometimes, especially when you're younger, you just think you're always right. Always right. Doesn't matter what other, like.
Get your feelings hurt real easily.
Yeah. It's just there's people out there that are trying to help. Yeah. I think we will wrap it up because I think we just thought of like 5 other podcast episodes. Yeah. So. That's a little bit from the Ilyas brothers. By the way, there's another brother. He also has changed. What's funny? We've all changed the way we've trained. Mm-hmm, I think even me, even now, I'm like, dude, once I'm done training, I'm going to like train a different way.
You already have your goals of like what you're going to do once you're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just, we all changed it up. And honestly, like where I'm at right now, I'm very happy. And I've been able to do every single thing I wanted to do. And like I do a bunch of just random stuff. Yeah. And the fun thing is like having that ability to jump between things and like being versatile like that. Like that was my goal. And
Yeah. And last, I'll just end it with this. Like if you watch this episode because you want to know a little bit more about fasting, Ramadan, biohacks, or awareness, physical exercise is important. Like for the audience that could be watching here, I know that maybe you don't think it's that important. It could be that you guys are athletes already and you guys know, but for those people that are like, yeah, whatever, it's a huge game changer. Yeah. Add it to your life somehow, some way, even if it's something small, right? Little bite-sized pieces every day, every week, and it's going to make some big, big differences in your life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll close it up. Thanks so much. Follow us. If you want to watch if you're here on the audio version, we actually have a video version on YouTube as well. So follow us on YouTube as well, JumpStart BFR Cups and Training.
And then the questions at...
Yeah, questions. If you have any questions, you can comment below, or you can email us info@jumpstartsystems.com. It doesn't have to be BFR related. We'd love to, if there's something that we could help you with, we're here. Thanks so much, guys. Talk soon.